We're live.
Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ live trading edition. It is at 9:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 10th day of April 2024. You're live with Dom, live with Kyle from Clover Trading. Welcome to the Clover Trading YouTube channel. Now's a great time as any to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're here every morning for Good Morning NASDAQ, for Wine Wednesdays, if you're watching the long form content and you're learning something with all this free content we're putting out, please make sure that you're subscribed and that you're hitting that thumbs up button as people start to filter in. I will mention it again, but if the number's high enough, I will be quiet. We got Dawson in here, says he is Jebediah's number one fan. Joseph, Jeff, Swing Stocks. Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's having a great week. It is hump day. Market is in turmoil, down over 1% already. Kind of had, was it Monday where we had kind of a little
Let's
eeksy kind of
see.
close and didn't know if that was going to be the start of something. But CPI this morning. And yeah, I wrote in the room and I'll say it again here. Mornings like this, days in which the market is super volatile to the downside. It's usually short-lived, just a few days before things settle down and either prepare to go lower, prepare to go higher. There's nothing wrong with sitting on hands. Like we always say, the market is always there. When you look back at a really good year, you're talking about a few weeks in total, a month or two, a couple really big days when everything aligns and everything's there for you. If the market environment is not hot and the overall market is sketchy, there's nothing wrong with sitting back, sitting on your hands, relaxing for a bit. 90% of the stocks on my watch list are red. I think of everything I see four stocks that are green, and one of them is SQQQ, so that doesn't even count. Um, there's nothing wrong with just relaxing for a bit, diving into your studies, getting a 7 day for $7 trial over at Clover, and just diving into all the content, whatever you have to do. But if your plays are there, be weary just of what 3 out of 4 stocks follow the market. Um, yeah, that's my disclaimer to you all before we even start talking about anything this morning that the market is weak. It was weak yesterday. Most of my stocks were red. Monday was a little bit of a scare, and yeah, this morning down over 1%. You don't normally see that on the overall market, down over 1% going into the day.
Yeah. Sorry. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, CPI came in. Came a little bit hotter than expected. Inflation is starting to scare some people again. It's not obviously at 9% year over year like it was back in what 2023, but or 2022, I should say, whenever it was over here, this area, right? But certainly it's not going down to 2%, which is what Jerome Powell wants. And so this makes everyone think that rate cuts for interest rates are not going to happen as soon as we would have liked. I think this entire run throughout the year, the attitude was like we see the light at the end of the tunnel, like we see lower and lower interest rates and freer money, right, or cheaper money. And now we don't as much. So we're starting to pull back. But honestly, this is actually pretty natural. No matter what year you're in of the stock market, there's always a 5 to 10% healthy pullback amongst a bull market. So, we've been just kind of straight up in this little channel, and so we're due for some kind of choppiness. But I do agree with Dom's points is that if this is going to happen now, this typically affects all things. And as much as I'm a short seller and people think, oh, you must be do really well in bear markets or market pullbacks, that's not necessarily true. If nothing runs up, then I have nothing to feel super convicted about short. But as of today, I guess we'll jump right into the watch list with that segue. CNXA. Really like this daily chart. This is, speaking of things I need to go up for them to then go down, this is a good one. We're up, now 5 going on 6 days in a row. The only thing I do not love is the volume. It's very low. It had 20 million shares traded yesterday, which sounds like a lot of 20 million, but when it's a 60-cent stock, that is only what? $1.2 million worth of volume,
Ye-
right? I think we're going to, or $12 million worth of volume? It's 12 million. Which
It
again,
can't be
still,
one. It looks too liquid for
yeah,
that.
yeah, 12. And you might think, well, 12 is a lot. Well, not really. When 12 is stretched out over the cross of the day, there is not much. And I'll show you why. Like, if, for example, if I wanted to take 100,000 shares of this, which is a very manageable position that I would take, a 60,000 share position size, there would have been multiple days where if I ever wanted to enter it in or out on a very same minute, I would be the biggest volume candle. I mean, all of these in late day are not even 100,000. Some are barely over 100,000. So like, I don't want to move a stock that much from a liquidity standpoint. So I'm hoping this gap up, and ideally if it runs one more day, will increase that volume. Hopefully bring the volume up to like 30 or 40 million. Just make it get a little more liquid, get them a little more interested. Because if it does die today, I just don't think I'm gonna safely be able to take it, especially with a gap up. You know, this is a good bullish start, so I like where this is at. DXYZ, congrats to everyone who made money on it short. I have never seen so many people bank in our chat room before. It was like 5 people in less than 5 minutes shorted this balance and then covered here. It was amazing. Seeing everyone just like bank on it, especially in the morning too. Plenty of people made money on it in the morning. Dom and I both traded it really well. And unfortunately, you know, given the extension, given the technical look of it, I still thought there was more downside to be had on this thing. Unfortunately, I thought it was going to open up, you know, closer to its previous close, like maybe somewhere in the 60 to 65 range, maybe a small gap down to 60, and then sell off to 50. But here we are gapping down to 50, so that kind of really invalidates the entire plan. It's literally at where I want to cover, and so shorting here doesn't make any sense to me. Granted, that doesn't mean it can't go down to 40 or 45, right? It could just keep selling off and dying, but I can't take that risk from a risk-reward standpoint. It makes no sense for me to short at 50, risk 60 or above, and then try to go down to 40 like a 1-to-1. So I'm going to avoid this here. Maybe if it spikes into 60 would be an option, but that's a pretty big spike to go $10 a share like that. We'll see what happens. So for now, I'm going to avoid that. Other than that, I mean, I'm looking at everything around me here. I mean, let me double check my watch list. It was already kind of a slower day going into it all. Oh yeah, IZM. Oh, whoops, we're getting things too big here. IZM here may look like a. I don't care, Norton. Jeez, it's bugging the crap out of me.
Thank you, Norton.
Thank you. Leave me alone. Lovely. We're just glitching out here. Okay, 1 second, everyone.
Look at that dragon.
Look at the dragon. That's odd. A little crasheroo on me.
Are we still live?
We are still live. Oh yeah, it just crashed on me.
Are you typing in your center point stuff on screen?
No, I stopped sharing my screen for that reason. Sorry, everybody. You can't get my password today.
Are you sure? Because I saw it live.
No, you didn't.
I'm watching it. I don't think I'm lying.
I stopped sharing my screen a long time ago, so it's still showing. That's really weird. Anyway.
I watched you log into Centerpoint.
Oh, weird.
They didn't see your password, but the username.
That's fine. You guys can see what my username is.
Did you pick that one yourself?
What?
Pick that username yourself?
Oh, yeah, of course. No, I didn't. Anyway, here we are. If we go back here, what we're talking about, IZM. IZM here looks like a multi-day runner. Looks really good. Gone from 9 to 30. However, it's not one. This, in my opinion, is a potential liquidation play. Maybe it doesn't play like that, loud like that. Maybe it doesn't, play out like that at all. But when you look at how it's ran, I mean, honestly, the volume is very consistent. That's not like typical runners that we like to trade. We like things that have no volume and then all of a sudden a ton of volume. This has been very consistent the entire time. And then has one big volume yesterday. But if you look at the intraday, right, if we go back, it's really all just, 7 minutes right here, maybe a little bit, 5 more minutes in late day. So this is very irregular, very not natural. And so nothing about this tells me this is a natural multi-day runner. Hence, I have zero intentions of shorting this as a first red day. I don't care if it goes red today. I have no intentions of shorting like it. The only way I would short it is if it's like playing out like a liquidation. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I do have ADL as a gapper. I kind of am interested in that. We'll see how this plays out after the first, 10, 20, 30 minutes. Not a huge fan of shorting the open, but we'll see how weak or strong it might be. WNDW is also another one. However, I hate how much it's really faded. I would like it to open closer to 2. I don't like that it's given off so much of its gains, but we'll see there as well. It does have some good days of gap and crapping, but also some days of running. So that's about it for me. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Dom, before we We have the market open here.
Um, Not a lot. Primarily long biased, and days like this, I feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle. Doesn't mean stuff can't work. We've seen on crazy days. I think Cadle the other day, CADL on the day where the end of the day where the market was getting crushed, it was ripping faces off. Um, so it can still happen. Maybe that was last week, but I'm not going to force anything. I'm watching KULR for breakout still holding up after the news the other day, holding up in the 70s right now. We'll see if that can make a push. Again, doesn't feel like the best market environment for that, just being that I would think a lot of volume would have to come in, and it doesn't appear that that's going to be today. Watching NKLA, that's kind of pulling back this morning, probably with Tesla and all that stuff. If that holds up into the end of the week, still watching that one around $1, but nothing that I really need to click buttons on. DXYZ technically fits reversal criteria. A pretty insane move. Had its first red day yesterday. I also, the main thing that's keeping me watching this morning is just the whole dollar half, dollar 50. We topped out around 100, 50% off the highs now, more than that if you talk about after hours. So wouldn't be surprised. Like the same reason Kyle would want a short down here. I think that's probably a lot of people, and they'd be waiting for a bounce towards red green. And I'm not predicting that, but if it sets up in a way where 50 is supporting and it feels like it can't go any lower, and we have some sort of morning ABCD or 5 minute high break, I think that's a reasonable area for it to bounce to from 50 to 60. And that if you can find a dollar, dollar and a half for risk, there's a way, but that's a lucrative type of trade. I did well in the first red day yesterday, so would be kind of be playing with house money there. But that's something I will be watching along with the rest of the market right out of the gate, see if we bounce or if we continue fading. And then XXII, technically a first green day potential. If that goes green, has been red 2 days in a row now, almost back to where the run started. Recent reverse split. I do think there's potential bounce there. It's not high on my, oh, I'm just frothing at the mouth to buy this, but if it sets up, I do think it can push through two into the low twos. Well, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Does it
CADL is technically reversal as well, but what
does it deter you that XXI did an offering?
did they?
I think they
I
did.
thought, okay, I looked at the after hours
Nice
and it
gap
didn't
down.
look like that,
That's true.
but
Let me look. I feel like I heard someone say it, so I
it
can't
looked like it
confirm it either.
drifted on the day of,
That's
and so I
true.
don't know
Oh,
if
maybe
I.
maybe this right here. Not a lot of volume, but it's kind of the
It would
crack.
deter me.
Yeah. Okay. If Chad, if you guys know, I'm not gonna look here because we just market opened, but I think I heard that somewhere. They did that. That happened.
Market opened here.
Let's see. Let's check out the DXYZ. Let's see if this can pop.
Yeah, so what I'd want to see on that one is probably 5 minutes of price action minimum, maybe 10. Maybe try to break 50 with some vigor and then kind of wick back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you kind of have a lot of support there, 46 to 50. We'll see. But it'd be
Yeah,
looking for a quick move back into 60 to 65.
all the support here. I would like a bounce because if it bounced anywhere between 60 and 80, like up here again, I would love a swing for this to, a swing short for this to fade back down to 20 or lower in 2 or 3 weeks. Kind of like a VFS type deal. For those who were in VFS or saw VFS last year, you got a great run from 20s all the way up to literally 93ish, very similar range to DXYZ, and you never saw anything again. It's now down to $4. So doesn't mean it has to be the same, but it could be similar. Ooh, where is it? CNXA. We like this spike. Keep it alive, bring in some volume. Hopefully bigger than yesterday, right? If we look, good start. Let's keep that going. Keep that rolling. Other than that, kind of slow day here. 75. Wow. ADL again shopping around. We're gonna give it some time. I'm in no rush. DX. I feel like DXYZ is going to have a pull before it bounces. Like I get to this kind of catching people wanting to chase going to the mid 40s. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we could see.
And definitely important to note when you expect things to be slow, when things aren't the right market environment, just to kind of, there are definitely those mornings when you're probably, like yesterday on DXYZ, when you're licking your chops and you're like, okay, I got to be ready, got to be mentally prepared, got to execute today, got to execute. And I don't think enough people look at executing by not trading in the same way. Prepare yourself that only if it's perfect, only if it's perfect, only if it comes to me. There are days when you can get away with chasing and being a little wild, but taking that same behavior onto days when the market environment's not there and the plays aren't there and the quality of play isn't there can definitely hurt you and give away all the gains when the market environment was there. So, there's nothing wrong again with going into certain days with the protect mindset. You do not have to click buttons. This is your one reminder today. There's no rule that says you have to take trades.
Yeah, totally. And I feel the same way, even regardless of the environment to some degree. Because for those who were around last Good Morning Nasdaq and have heard me talk about this last week or two, you know, LTCN and BCHG, even though they're actually dying now because crypto is pulling back with the market as well. Took a very ugly start to April due to me just being aggressive on these things. And so I was down the first week of April like 60K, like 58K to be more specific. So I was like, wow, this is a tough start to April. Like it's going to be rebuilding. And if there's no A plus trades, like then so be it. I'll be red. But obviously the market gifted me with DXYZ yesterday. And so after literally DXYZ, I'm now up like a grand and a half or something like that, like 1500, 1800, somewhere in there. So I am technically green. So the last thing I want to do is make any more kind of I don't say loose mistakes or just be so willy nilly like, oh, I got it back, who cares? And then be right back red. I kind of want to still be in that protect mode until I'm feeling a little more safely out of it. So yeah, I have no problem not trading today, but I do think I want to do ADL because ADL is still weak. Where is it? But again, I always like giving it. I've learned to give it more time than most people would expect. I rather be, like I said, I always, regardless what I'm trading. I always like the approach. I'd rather be late and right than early and wrong. So many gappers, in at least this year, that I've shorted it, and then I get my face ripped off, getting in a little too early. So we're gonna stay disciplined and wait. But CNXA here, kind of pulling back. I like this volume though, because again, for those who know how I look at volume, you guys know I do this. I like to zoom out and then immediately compare the first few minutes of today versus the first few minutes of yesterday. And, we're already multiple 300K plus candles. And we probably have more 300K plus candles today than we had all of yesterday. So that's a good sign. The only issue is that if this dies, which is, this pullback's not a great start to that, or is a great start to that, which is what I don't want, right? And this actually, goes red, that's going to suck. Maybe I'll take it because, again, technically the volume would be bigger today. But again, taking it at 60 after it was up in the 70s is kind of a chase, I feel like. So ideally, I really want this to hold up with volume. Otherwise, it's very likely I just don't take it. So we'll see. Oh, DXYZ.
Yeah, I was about to, when you were talking, I was say pretty light volume, pretty much nothing going on.
I was about to say, yeah, ew.
Definitely a world where I could have been buying 51 twos there, risking 49.50. That was probably the best risk reward, but I would have had no way of knowing that the volume was going to come in right there. But $2 to risking two to make 10 potentially would have been decent, but wasn't watching that closely.
It's almost like, yeah, that's almost like sometimes tickers have like a delayed open. Like market makers don't get their crap together until a certain time. Because it opened here. It opened on this first green candle. Did
No difference than
nothing.
pre-market.
Yeah, did nothing. And then it's like this candle should be the first open, which makes sense. I've seen that before where it's just some tickers they have for whatever reason, they have a 2 or 3 minute delay to join the party. So let's see here.
This would be ideal. I'd be looking for 60 to 63 for price targets, just playing it right into the range, right into where people would be interested again, right
Yeah,
towards red green.
I might need to borrow some shares just in case I want to.
My goodness, this would have been picture perfect. Talk about a 3-minute trade. You can get 60 right here.
All right. Yeah, if we can see 60. We're gonna halt up maybe. That's exciting. Oh, ADL. Damn. Now I'm gonna miss this here. Maybe I was too patient. Now we're really dying. Okay. But DXYZ did halt there? No, it didn't. 59. Yeah, I need 60 or above for me personally. Right down to 54. Wow, that was quick. That might have been near pop as a short seller, in my opinion. But again, I'm okay missing it. I really wanted, because even then, even at 57, the risk reward still isn't great. I mean, 57, I'm risking 64, $7 a share. Maybe it gets back down to 50, so I'm 1-to-1. Maybe if it gets down in the mid 40s, then I'm better than 1-to-1. But I don't know. Even then, it's just nothing special. We want 60, risking 64, $4 a share, and then be able to get back down to 50. Then it's like a 2.5-to-1. That's what we want. But we could hold up here. And not much going on. Not a whole lot.
Yeah, KULR pulling back, a liquid there. CNXA holding up. Prefer that to go higher towards $1.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Technically, where's that resistance level again? Where are we? What is this? This is 73.5. So we did go over it, but we're under it again. So back over would be nice. Would be preferred.
And if I was in DXYZ, I'd probably just be sitting with low day risk and accepting that fate. Or if it builds back and has more of a 30-minute to an hour long bounce, all the better.
All the better. Yeah, we'll see here. This is kind of, again, no zone or no man's land for me right now. Oh, also speaking of ones that I would have wanted to swing or fade, SOUN did a 150 million ATM today. That's exciting.
Really?
Yeah, working on our way to fading.
Do you get
right back.
do you get alerts on that?
I didn't. I ended up coming into the chat room today and seeing a comment somewhere about it, but quite the fade since it broke down to nothing but choppy downwards. So probably goes back to $2 here in the next month if I had to guess. All right, DXYZ, we are holding up, continuing. That's what I like to see. Part of me is honestly, the longer this takes to get to 60, the more I don't like it. Like the longer it takes to grind up, I almost feel like longs have a bit more of, not conviction, but like if they're that patient, it's probably because it's going to keep going. But if it happens now, it'll still be pretty relatively quick. It's like if it happens slowly over the next 30 minutes, it'd be like, this is kind of too slow, but we are kind of already doing it. We'll just see if we can continue.
No, so far pretty ideal bounce here.
Okay, here we go. Here's 60.
Yeah, I remember Gratani always saying like you'd much rather strong, quick spikes into resistance levels for shorting versus
Right.
slow grinds.
Right. We'll see if that failed there.
If I was in, I'd be pretty annoyed. I probably would have had sells on the other side of 60.
Yeah. I thought about already having my order at 60, but I'm being a little bit conservative. I'd rather wait to see it go well over 60 and then react from there. Frankly, I don't even think I would have filled if I was on 60 because the top is perfectly 60. Plenty of other asks in the way there. No. Well, anyways, guys, we got a few more minutes here. If you guys want to ask a couple questions, we'll answer some before we close it out. Pretty slow day out there. Nothing special. Nothing crazy.
Someone asked, Dom, can you explain the difference between a first green day and a reversal? I kind of have both of them in my repertoire just because Brittani released a DVD which he called it a reversal. And so my separation between them is a reversal is less of like a backside like actual first green day, whereas so first green day to me is where the stock has multiple red days, something like what's a Reddit's not a good example of like the play, but if you pull up the Reddit daily chart, um, we have a big move from the 45 to 75 area, and then we have like 1, 2, 3 days where it doesn't go red. So to me, it really means first green day. It's kind of like the exact opposite of a first red day. Extended to the downside, hasn't where that green red trigger means something. In this case, the red green trigger means something, and the first time it's green, we should see shorts covering. We should see buyers come back in at lower prices. Whereas a reversal is much more of a quick, I'm much more likely to buy when it's red on the day, something like DXYZ. I'm trying to think of one recently that worked. Um, it's more of just kind of we have one red day. Like, stock goes on a move from like 5 to 15, has one red day down towards like 7 or 8. Like there's a lot of range to the downside, and maybe people are able to cover their positions and make money to the downside a lot quicker than having to wait for a clean fade. And it's usually on stocks that are lower float, more volatility, and the range is pretty big to either direction. And in that case, there might just be a quick morning bounce, and because there's so much range, in that case, it goes from 15 to 7, maybe 7 to 10 happens quickly, and then it proceeds to continue its downside, its backside. So it's not necessarily at the end of the backside like a first green day to me is, where we've faded for multiple days, haven't gone green. A reversal is more taking advantage of that short-term volatility, um, and catching a bounce back into, yesterday's levels.
CNXA. This dang thing is dying. It makes me want to short it, but I probably should have been short on this 70 move here. I can't. I don't like chasing it down in 60s here. And problem this is looking a lot. I mean, if you look at its history, it's well off its highs on multiple top days, even here and here, and so this looks on par, on brand for it. And so, unfortunately, again, think about risk. Got to think about the risk reward. It's like if I'm shorting at 60, mid 60s here, I probably have to risk at least 73. What? Maybe it goes to, I don't know, between 60 and 55, maybe 55. I mean, that's a pretty big range red day to the downside. So what is that? That's maybe 11 cents for risking 9. It's not nice. It's not great. Versus getting short at 70, risking 73. Then we're talking. This could just go to 60 and it'd be 3 to 1. Risking 3 cents to make 10. So I'm a little bit late there. But if you heard me pre-market, I kind of said I wasn't really that interested anyway. I needed to almost go one more day with more volume, and then be interested the next day. So totally okay with missing it, even though it looks really ideal. But we will see. All All right. Any other questions, guys? Someone says thoughts on a candle. What's the company's name? Candle something. CADL.
Candle
Candle
Therapeutics.
Therapeutics. Yeah.
Yeah, I had it on watch.
Reversal.
Um, I actually bought it yesterday morning and then flipped short. I was a little tilty yesterday. Um, Definitely increased volume this morning relative to yesterday's. Pretty much all day. This last 10 minutes is a lot more um, volume S. It is a kind of a wonky trader. Like basically, had you bought this morning, you probably would have been stopped out into the low day crack, and now it's trying to hold green right now. The volume continues. I think there's definitely a possibility it can move fast. A bounce towards 650 to 7. I don't think is crazy. Um, but it is kind of a wonky one that might stop you out before working.
Right. It's always been a choppy one. This was the smoothest day in terms of a trend yesterday. Every other day has been all over the place. Not my favorite kind of trader, that's for sure. But anyways, guys, if there's no other questions, we're gonna wrap it up here. It's been a little over 30 minutes. Pretty slow day. Nothing crazy. Nothing special.
No big losses from Kyle.
Yeah, and that's the good thing. We like that. Make sure always to like and subscribe. We appreciate the appreciation.
Always appreciate.
Also, stay tuned for a tweet from Twitter, our X page. Me, Huddy, and Dom will be together this weekend, and we are going to film a lot of content together. One of which will probably be a roundtable Q&A style video that we will pull questions from the social medias. So wait for that tweet, and any questions you've been dying to ask that are maybe beyond the scope of a live trading stream or take a few more minutes to answer, more than welcome to ask that question, and we will put it in a video. Other than that, there also is a live trading webinar on Friday for 4-leaf clover subscribers. Because again, we will all be together by then, so we will do a webinar together then, live trading there as well. And if you want to get in on that, as Dom always says, we got a $7 7-day trial. You can join in, be in by today, and then get access to that on Friday. And if you like to stick, or if you like what you see, you could always stick around for longer. And yeah, thanks so much, everybody. I don't know if you have any other closing words there, Dom.
I do not. Stay
Perfect.
safe out there, everyone. Well, I guess I do. Stay safe out there, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. We'll be back to regular scheduled programming tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. before we all meet up this weekend. So as always, bring your questions. If you're 4-leaf clover, make sure you get those questions in. Study days like today, if there's no great opportunities to trade, if the market environment's not there for you, take advantage of the time given to you. You don't always need to be clicking buttons to be getting better. Grow that knowledge account and continue to put in the work behind the scenes because that's where it will get paid off at.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Or actually tonight, Wednesday, 7 p.m.
Tonight.
Eastern. Peace.